to the Real Estate Coasters podcast. I'm Harry. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Dave. And we have a friend of the show, Mike Plactere. Mike, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me. I mean, you guys really pulled out the big guns for the first few shows. You got Jeremiah, Pinter, and Greg, and then shit. I'm number 4. I really appreciate that.
You're Mount Everest. You're on Mount Everest, as far as I'm concerned.
Dude, I feel like it. I feel like it, man. Thank you.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. So Mike's from Long Island. Mike is a future real estate rock star. I know it. David knows it. Mike, tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get into real estate? What are you doing?
Yeah, sure. Mike Plactere, CPA. I'm a full-time accountant, and I'm a part-time real estate investor. I'm trying to get into real estate, flipping houses. You see my Instagram over there. It's that flipping accountant. So I'm actually trying to flip that around a little bit, where I'm working in real estate full-time and accounting part-time. That's my goal. But yeah, how'd I get into it? You know, it all dates back to accounting. When I first started my job, like I got a job in 2010 at like the bottom of the market, you know, in a Great Depression pretty much. And one thing I noticed that all my clients had in common was that they all owned real estate, and they all were very successful, you know, tremendous net worth. And whether they got rich in real estate or they had a business and got rich there, they all invested in real estate. So I noticed like I really have to do that, you know, when I really want to do that in life. So I went down that rabbit hole, YouTube University, and just sort of learned everything that way. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Isn't YouTube University the best?
Oh yeah, I mean,
it really is.
I don't even know how many thousands of hours I've spent on YouTube. Just
I mean, Dave, he's a dentist. He learned everything he did on YouTube University. I'm joking.
That's a whole other subject, but honestly, the internet. I don't think a lot of people would graduate programs without the internet. Let me just put it that way.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? That's a whole other discussion. Yeah. All right.
Let's get back to Mike.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah. So, you know, I educated myself that way. You know, I wanted to get into real estate, and, you know, for years, I just didn't take action and never really did anything, you know. I mean, I'm talking many, many years. And then I finally joined the RIA in 2018. And again, you know, I met a lot of great people, but I just never took action. And it wasn't until like the pandemic hit that I was at one of the RIAs right before everything shut down. And these guys were watching this video. And late, I didn't know at the time, but now it was, you know, Charles Weinraub. We both know him.
Yeah.
And he was having some kind of promo event. So I, you know, attended the promo event in April 2020, and it just completely like transformed everything I knew about real estate. Because, you know, at the time I'm looking on the MLS thinking like, oh, okay, this is overpriced. This is overpriced. How are these guys making any money? And, you know, that opened up a whole world of wholesaling, getting off market properties and everything like that, and the networking angle to everything. And I just took action. You know, the pandemic was a good opportunity, working from home, to actually start doing what I wanted to do. So yeah, that's kind of how I got started, and it's been like 2 years. I got my first deal in early this year, and it took me almost 2 years to do it.
You want to tell us about that first deal?
Yeah, so I got the deal from someone in my network. It was a realtor who I built a pretty good relationship with. It wasn't listed property, but she knew someone, a homeowner, excuse me, a homeowner that was willing to sell their house, and the tenant that was living in the property was moving out. She didn't want to re-rent it. She didn't want to have to fix it up and put it on the market that way, because she didn't have, you know, the homeowner wasn't a, let's just say like a, you know, a construction, there's another construction experience. So, you know, she didn't want to go through the hassle. She'd rather have a cash offer and sell to an investor. And that's when the realtor who I knew reached out to me and was like, hey, listen, Mike, there's a property, you know, 2 blocks away from the last one I showed you. What do you want to go check it out? They're asking a good price. I think they were asking like 230. And in that neighborhood, it's a pretty solid deal. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't a home run, but definitely a good deal to get my feet wet. I checked it out. I got it inspected, and I put an offer in a little lower, and they took it. So yeah, it's been a great experience.
I mean, first of all, you obviously cultivated a great relationship with this real estate agent, but why did they offer it to you? Why didn't they take it themselves? If it's
The realtor?
They heard, but yeah.
I mean, some realtors do, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, some
Okay.
realtors, that's what they're like, investors, but they're realtors, and like, they kind of, the business supports the real estate business, you know what I mean?
Got it.
But not everyone does that, you know, because not everyone, you know, first off, you realize like a lot of people aren't great with numbers. They don't know the numbers. They don't really care for investing their capital. They don't want to risk it. They have the capital. They don't want to risk it. They just don't have the educational component to it. There's a whole load of things like why they wouldn't do it. But this realtor was just like, she's just a realtor, and a realtor that sort of specializes with Section 8 rentals too. So she kind of helped me on finding the tenant as well. And she's going to find all my tenants going forward. She's great. So, but that being said, yeah, like she could have done it herself if she really wanted to, but maybe she just doesn't have the education.
She wants the repeat business from you. That makes sense.
Well, that too. Yeah, that's definitely why.
Or maybe some agents, you know, we never know what position they're in life. Maybe they need the money now. Who knows?
Sure.
Maybe they don't.
Yeah.
And you know what, Mike, sorry, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but you posted something on social media about you having to make a repair recently on this property, and that passive income isn't truly passive. Maybe some agents don't want to deal with that, or some investors don't even want to deal with that, you know? So
Yeah. You got to realize like the rental real estate market, or the business, I should say, it's a different business. You know, it's not sales. You know, they're completely different things. Being in the sales business is more like marketing and sales, whereas, you know, being an investor it's a little bit of that too. Don't get me wrong. But it's also a whole nother, I mean, Harry, you know, you're coaching with Carl just like I am, and it's a whole educational component. And you know, and some people, listen, you don't want to go into a deal if you're not properly educated. You don't know what you're doing. So
you're not properly educated, not properly financed, sometimes both. It could be a multitude of things, but it's that was a good question, Dave, because you would think an agent would see like a deal and they will say, whoa, that's kind of a home run over there. Why don't I take it? But it just goes to show you people that, you know what, everyone is.
It goes to show that relationships are important.
Oh,
well, there's a couple of things. Like, first off, I think on Long Island, there's like 48,000 realtors and like 50,000 realtors. They all can't be investors. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be crazy to have 50,000 investors on Long Island, you know? So that's one. But two, she's also looking at it like, if I use her to rent the property, that's another income stream. I'm always going to use her on that property going forward. You know, if she finds me 3, 4, 5 properties in the next 2 to 3 years, that's a whole nother component that she's looking at, revenue stream, you know, 5 years, 10 years down the line, when the economy goes bust, you know, that stream of income is always there, because there's always going to be a need for tenants. So that's what she's looking at that way. I understand. She's more of a.
So what's going on with this deal right now? It's you've got a tenant in there. Are you're looking for your next deal? Well, I guess let's answer the first question. What's going on with this house?
Yeah, so we bought the property in February, did the renovations within, you know, I want to say 5-6 weeks, and had this thing rented out April 1st. Right. Okay. So in 5 weeks, that's the end of March, we had this thing done.
So you already had a construction guy, a contractor lined up that you trusted. You got the job done.
Yeah. The day after we closed, I mean, these guys were ripping the place apart. You know what I mean? Like, I scheduled everything, you know, the right way, the way Carl had taught me. You know, he wants everything, all my ducks in a row before I even close. And that's what I did. I scheduled everything right away. The guys cruised through the project. And I literally rented out April 1st. No one thought I could have rented out April 1st. Really, people were saying maybe May, maybe later. You know, the towns, you had to wait on the rental permit. We, you know, moved mountains, to put it lightly. We really did. Like, my rental agent really moved mountains on this one, and we got it rented out April 1st. We got the rental permit. We got the inspection done on like the 31st. It was like really at that last week, we really were moving, and we really. I'm just proud of my team, you know, for putting everything together and getting it done, so, you know, fast time. And then they did a good job too. Everyone did a great job.
What made this particular deal appealing to you? Was it that you knew that you'd be able to buy it under value and then be able to repair it, raise the value, get some equity, and then refinance? Was that what made that deal appealing to you?
Yeah, like, that's the whole business model, really. If you think about it, it's buying properties less than what they're worth.
Yep.
Because she probably could have gotten a little bit more money if you put it on the market. It's crazy. This market's very competitive, but and then I'm adding value by improving it, making it a nicer use, and then adding value. The appraiser comes in, looks at it, appraises it, higher value, and then I'm able to pull out. I didn't pull out every dollar on this one. I would have liked to. I was pretty much out of pocket my repair costs, but other than that, I pulled out like my purchase price and even a little more. So, yeah, it was a solid deal. I mean, that's the whole business model when you're doing these rentals. Like, very rarely, I would think, especially in this market, you're going to find something and just rent it out day one and have equity. You know what I mean? Like, you have to work for that equity.
Right.
So,
go ahead.
Sorry, Dave. No, you first.
Slightly off topic, but you said in this market, and I had an interaction with someone this week. They put their house on the market. This is California, so it may be a little bit different than New York, but you tell me how you feel about, or the both of you, how you feel about the market in New York. But he told me that he put his house on the market, was it 2 weeks ago? And they still haven't really gotten the offer that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. His real estate agent told him, that if they put their house on the market like maybe a month and a half ago, this house would have been gone. But because of changes in the market, the scares with the recession, they're not getting as many bites. And it's a nice house. I've been there. For California, it should be selling.
Can I, before Mike answers, can I just interject a little bit, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
speaking from the perspective of someone who's looking to buy a home for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
Not as an investment, but as a primary. So I can tell you, me in my shoes, interest rates are going through the fucking roof.
Right.
And you're looking at some of these prices in proportion to the interest rates, and you're just kind of saying I'm saying to myself, I'm not paying that price. Now, if that's me doing it, I'm going to make the assumption that I'm not the only one. So my assumption is that, and Mike, I've actually spoken to a few people in the RIA about this, some agents, like Tim Gallagher. He said, like, people are kind of in denial right now. And once reality hits, if these market conditions continue, then prices might start decreasing. But that's just me from my perspective as someone looking for a home. Mike, right. What do you think?
Yeah, no, it's a tough question because I can't really predict the future, but looking at what's going on right now, I mean, I'm hearing stories very similar to what you said, David, about in other areas, though, that they're softening a little bit. You're seeing the buyers backing out. However, on Long Island, again, I think this is so recent, like as of the last few months. So there's like not even that much data, but I still think it's cooling a little bit, but it's not like affecting the prices. Like there's still going to be demands. If you were buying an $800,000 house 6 months ago, you're still in the market to buy. Maybe you're looking at a 700 or a 650. So you're changing the neighborhoods, but that's still not affecting the demand. Still there, it's just shifting. So I don't know if it's, I'm not seeing prices really go down.
I mean, the areas I'm looking at are Plainview, Belmore, Merrick. I'm seeing price reductions between anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000. Now, but that's what you see on Zillow. I don't know how accurate it is, but my wife, she's consistently sending me, "Oh, look at this house, the price drop." So I don't know, but that's a good point, David. I don't
know how this ends. I really don't. Like, I don't think we're crashing ever, but the prices will come down at some point. I don't know how it ends. It's because, like I was saying, going back to the demand's still there, man. I mean,
demand is definitely still there. Interestingly enough, to really finish that story, the owner of the home told me that the person that they're negotiating with right now to buy their home is a real estate investor, which was really surprising to me because, like Mike said earlier, you want to buy a home low so that you can hopefully eventually sell it for more, right? So, I mean, right now, if this real estate investor buys this home, they are buying this home top dollar. Which I was just like, okay, what is this person going to get out of it? I mean, maybe it's someone who has plenty of money and they don't really care. They just want a rental and they need a place to park cash. I don't know.
Or are they a real buyer? It's a real question because, I see this a lot. I feel like there's a lot of people that want to be real estate investors, and they're like wholesalers, right? Like they go out there, they try to lock up a deal, they try to find a buyer for that deal, and they try to just middle their way into a deal. But it's like, if they don't know what they're doing, they could just buy something overpriced. Like maybe in this case, this person is buying something overpriced, right? Because why would you as an investor buy at the retail?
Yeah,
what I mean?
makes it. I was really surprised when he said it's a real estate investor. I was just like, oh, okay.
And
Makes sense.
apologies, David, I didn't let you finish your story. See
No,
what
that's
happens. See what happens when we don't do these
This is
podcasts
conversation.
every day. You become rusty, or I become rusty. I'm an awful co-host. I apologize.
That's right.
But yeah, I think there's always going to be a level where people are just going to want to make offers. So demand is going to be there, and I feel like when you have markets like New York, California, just these insane markets where the laws of gravity don't apply nearly as much as they do elsewhere in the country. Because I mean, these are capitals of the world. So, but that's interesting that a real estate investor wants to buy. And to your point, David, like maybe it's just a bunch of dumb money behind this investor.
A lot of dumb money out here.
But what happens is that it makes it more competitive for people who don't have dumb money to invest.
Sure.
So
no, there's definitely a lot of dumb money. I mean, not to sound cocky or anything, but I mean, I have conversations with people all the time, just in casual conversations, not even real estate related, and it'll come up, and they're like, "Oh yeah, with me and my, we bought 2 rentals last year," and you're like, you talk to them, they know nothing about real estate. You're like, holy, like they're gonna lose their shirt, these people. And I have that conversation more and more now, and it just seems like, they're like you said, like maybe their home went up in value, and they have a couple $100,000, $200,000 lying around all of a sudden because the market went crazy. And now they think, oh, I saw a video on YouTube and I'm going to go buy properties, or I'm going to wholesale or whatever. And I think there's a lot of that. I really do. And I don't know, if this slows down this market, I think a lot of people can get hurt. I mean, I really don't know how it ends. I have no clue, but
So Mike, as a CPA, numbers really well, I think, right?
Supposedly.
I hope so.
What are your like when you look at a deal and you're like, I gotta have this?
Yeah. So I guess what are my metrics? It all goes back to like what my goals are, and then I have to analyze deals based on what my goals are, right? So I have a certain number. Actually, by the end of this year, I want a certain number in net cash flows, net monthly cash flows, as well as a certain amount of equity, right? So I'm analyzing a deal like, all right, how many deals do I have to get to do my goal, to hit my goals? And then within that, how good are the metrics of that deal, right? So I have to have, for argument's sake, at least, $500, $600, or $700 in net monthly income, net, like after everything, reserves, everything like that, repairs. And then also I have to have at least 40,000 in equity after it's all said and done. So when my, repairs and I refinance and everything, my all-in costs versus what the appraisal value was, I gotta have at least 40,000 right there. I don't want to do it because if the market changes and, I want to have a little cushion,
a little wiggle room.
Yeah. You don't want to, that's a big component. A lot of people, I don't think, a lot of people look at just the cash flow. Oh, I'm young. I want to retire. I don't want to work anymore. I just want to look for the cash flow. Like they're only concerned about cash flow. Not really.
You want equity and cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's so important to have the equity because that is, you want your exit strategy if you ever needed to sell. And also for refinancing, right? If you have some equity in the future, maybe 5 years from now, you want to pull a little more out because maybe the market went up a little bit or something like that.
Sure.
That's another liquidation strategy. So you always have to have some sort of equity component to a deal, in my opinion.
So two follow-ups. One, how do you go about getting that equity? And two, you mentioned earlier about your goals. I don't think you kind of elaborated on what your goals are. So if you can just touch upon how do you go about getting that equity and what are your goals? Because I know you did your first deal recently. And I know, like I'm telling you people, Mike's a real estate rock star in the making. So if you could just walk us through your goals, your future goals.
Yeah. So, well, my goals were, when I first started, by the end of this year to have 4 to 5 rentals, having a certain number of net cash flow, like I just spoke about, and an equity component. From there, and it was just rentals. I wasn't trying to get into flips or anything like that, or, wholesaling. If a deal came in my lap, sure. Would I wholesale it? Absolutely. But no, the idea was get 4 to 5 of those by the end of this year. And then next year, and the 2-3 years after that, focus on implementing some flips and some wholesales into that as well, because that's income. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't want to be flipping properties for us, because that's really not a passive thing. That's more of, transactional, right? You stop flipping houses, you stop making money. Whereas in the rental, you're always making money. So I'll never get rid of picking up rentals. That's always going to be part of my business model. However, next year and in the years to follow, I want to implement flipping and wholesaling as well, just to add another tool in the tool belt and make money. It's a high income job. That's really what it is. And so that's really my goals for the next 3 to 5 years, I would say. But currently, my short-term goal is to get 4 to 5. I would say 4. I could still hit my net cash flow number with 4. But yeah, you know what? It's getting late in the year, to get 3 more. So I really got to push it.
Anything's possible. And if there's anyone that can do it, it's you, Mike.
Thanks, man.
And yeah, of course. And the equity question that I had. So you mentioned about making sure that you have equity, and it's something that actually I'm asking because I think it would be a good thing to for the audience to learn. And also I'm asking selfishly because it's something that Carl, for the uninitiated, Carl Chavone, he's a coach that both Mike and I coach under. He stresses that a lot, to think about the equity portion of acquiring a deal. So in your opinion, what's the best way to go about make sure that you do get equity when you do acquire a deal?
Yeah, no, and I think that's the more important component than the cash flow. Like I was saying, because, like, going back to all my clients in accounting, all the assets they own, believe me, they have plenty of equity on top of it, right? If they ever had to sell, they'll be fine. But yeah, so how do you go about getting that equity? You really just knowing what a good deal is. I really think that's important. So be educated on what numbers are, like focus on a market or two, right, that you're want to invest in, and know if a deal comes up, is that a good deal or not a good deal, right? So really know your numbers, study the market, see what things are selling for, see what the investors are buying things for. You know what I mean? Like, are the investors that buying things in the high ones and low twos, like that's where they're buying things at. So if you're buying things in $300,000 in Mastic, like you're probably not going to make money. You know what I mean? So really know what a good deal is, understand the equity, understand the costs that go into that too, because you know what I mean? You buy something at low twos and it needs $50,000 or $100,000, that might wipe out your deal. So you got to know where the market is. And then really, once you understand your numbers, drive in as many deals as possible, your deal flow as possible. So whether that's on the market, putting in an offer on everything that's on the market, and then driving your off-market leads by networking or doing marketing, direct mail, maybe you're cold calling, you're doing SMS, whatever it may be, whatever your strategy is. The idea is just to drive in leads and put in offers. That's the whole business model, is that really driving leads and put in offers, because the more offers you put in, the more deals you're going to have.
So we were talking about your goals, and you want to get 3-4 more deals this year. What are your marketing methods? I can obviously see you got a nice background. We've got your email, we've got your website there. How are you getting people to the website? How are they getting to the website? How's that working out?
Believe it or not, like the website is not currently like a lead source. I had the Carrot website, which is like a real estate investor website, pay like a small number each month, $50 a month or something like that. And it helps me with like SEO, but that's not really the idea. I'm not really looking, at least currently, I'm not looking to invest money into the PPC or the SEO strategies, because it's very expensive.
Expensive and not great return from my experience.
Yeah,
for my business.
You got to be like the top 1 or 2 guys really.
Yeah.
So it's very competitive, and you really need a big budget. So I don't do that at the moment, because I just, I don't have the big budget or willing to invest the big budget into that. So the reason why I do the website though, it is credibility. A lot of people come to the website, oh, look at that's the guy. I know that logo. You know what I mean? Like it is credibility when people, and then also if you hand someone your business card that they don't know who you are if you don't have a website. Everyone goes online nowadays and they just look things up. They look people up. They go to the website. They want to learn about you. That's really why I do it. I don't really care much for the marketing component at the moment. But maybe in the future I will.
Awesome.
So wait, so how are you finding? So obviously,
Oh, right. Yeah, getting back. Yeah,
you
sorry.
found the one deal via the real estate agent. So what is working for you? What are you doing right now?
Right. So networking is big, and that was part of the networking with the realtor. I would do like text marketing with realtors, believe it or not. Like I would text them like a video, like I'm talking about thousands of them, not like one or two of them. I would just like go through a huge list. I'm sure if they're watching it, they probably hate me, half of these realtors. But I would like text market with a lot of realtors, and they would respond, and I would try to build a relationship that way. So that was one way. That's more of like a networking strategy, I guess you could say. And then I'm currently starting to implement, like literally as we speak, SMS. So I want to get into SMS, like mass texting directly to homeowners now. Right. So yeah, networking is great.
Yep.
And a lot of those deals, I get a lot of deals that are not good through like the network. A lot of the realtors do not send me good deals. This one did, but I'm also like I want to go directly to the homeowner as well, because I feel like a lot of those off-market deals, there's less competition.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to eliminate, because every time I see even the off-market deals, the wholesale deals that I get, the wholesalers send me these deals all the time. And those are horrible deals. Not that the deal's bad. Like I might see, like I might want a little bit lower than what they're asking, but they're going over the asking. It's like, I can't compete when there's 30 investors putting an offer on the same property. I'll never be the highest offer.
Are you prepared, Mike, to have people to tell you to go to hell and do other unmentionable things when you reach out to them, when you reach out to homeowners directly?
Oh yeah. I did a little texting about a year ago. I got a lot of calls back there. Is my property for sale? Like, do you see a sign on the lawn? And I'm like, I don't even know where your house is, but I mean, like, is it for sale? I want to know if it's for sale. Like, that's why I'm reaching out to you. I don't know if it's for sale. Like, they get a lot of that.
Like, do you want to sell it to me?
Yeah, I got a lot of like, is there a sign on the lawn?
Mike, Mike, did you hear Pinter's? Actually, it was I think it was to Greg, Pinter's friend. The response he got recently to when he reached out to a homeowner. It was the guy left a message saying 1-800. You know what? It's not PG, but it was very crude. Let's just put it this way.
Yeah.
I'll tell you afterwards. But yeah, so Mike, listen, just knowing you from what I know about you, you seem like you have some thick skin. So for the audience out there, my understanding, because of course I have not done this yet, but when you go, and David, you've done it. I don't know if you've encountered. Have you encountered people have told you to go to hell and other things?
Not necessarily, but they've just said like, how dare you like call my house distressed or whatever. It was something like that. It was an email that we got from letters that got sent out, and the email said, "How dare you call my house distressed?" And it's like, your house is distressed. Sorry, lady.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, David, you live in a certain part of California where people's aggression is a little different than your standard New Yorker.
Easily offended, yes.
How dare you? Versus here, they're like, "What the fuck are you doing calling me?" But still, it's
Yeah,
Cool.
like I'm not. Listen, I'm an accountant. I'm not used to people, screaming at me, and I'm not in the sales business, but I just don't care. You know what I mean? I'm just at a point where I need to make this work.
You have to not care. You have to just keep going.
Yeah. Like I want this real estate thing to work. And I could just care less if people are yelling at me if I call them or if I text them. You know what I mean? So yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So Mike, you kind of transitioned from, being on the sidelines and now you're active. How's it like? Anything you would have done differently? Anything you wish you would have known? Anything? Is it what you thought it would be?
No. That's a great question, because what I would have done is get a mentor earlier and done. So I would have did what I did when I first started coaching with Carl about 2 years ago. I would have done that. I should have done that sooner, right? Like I said earlier, like I wanted to get into real estate like 10 years ago, man. And I didn't do it. You know, and I wasn't educated. I was a different place in life. Like I understand that. There's a whole host of reasons, but I'm here now, right? But I mean, like I could have gotten in at a way better time in the market, 2012, 13, 14. You could have bought anything. You could have bought like a horrible deal back then and it would have doubled. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, yeah, hindsight's 2020, but I guess that's my point is I should have gotten in earlier and gotten the education earlier than I did now. But it is what it is. But I think now, like if I could be successful in this market, or just get the education now in this market, when things start to turn, I'll be positioned properly to take advantage of the opportunity.
And but yeah, and that's a great point, Mike. Getting a mentor earlier on. But I think if you rewind the clock like 10, 15 years ago, when I don't know about you, but for me, like spending money on a mentor in my early to mid 20s, I'm like, what are you talking about? But
oh yeah, dude, I was so against it. Like I thought like this, I don't need someone. Like, why do I need someone? Like, cause you watch all the YouTube videos, you think you know everything,
right?
Or you think you know a lot at least. And I'm like, what's the value this person will bring to me? And then also you got to think like, who's the right mentor? Because there's a lot of people out there. Some people are probably not the right mentors. And then I just know I picked the right one. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and again, paying for that educational component when there's so much free education out there, but it's not really it. There is the education component that Carl and a mentor provides, but it's also like the accountability, also the business building. Like I'm building a business. I'm literally last month or a few weeks ago, I should say, I was creating standard operating procedures. You know what I mean? Like when I put in an offer, how do you do that? You know what I mean? I have a whole schedule and spreadsheet and a checklist on how to do that. Well, it's kind of irrelevant for me to do now, but what if I bring someone on? What if I want to bring on an assistant in a year or 2 years?
It's ready to go.
It's ready to go. I have like the systems in place, and we'll just bring someone on bring them into the machine, and everything should be set up. They'll know exactly what to do and how to do it. But the point is like, yeah, like I have a business coach. I wouldn't even call him a real estate mentor. He's more like a business coach,
right?
Who specializes in real estate. He really is a great person, great guy. And as I've transformed and have so much more confidence now working with someone like, Carl, than I did. You should have seen me like 18 months ago. Like I didn't know anything. I had no confidence.
Carl's the man. I'm so happy that I'm doing the coaching with him. He really hones in on, like you said, Mike, operating as a business. And you know what? I'll try to link to the show notes. There's an article on Bigger Pockets, the difference between real estate investors and real estate entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And real estate investors, they invest here and there, but they, their main focus of income is whatever it is that they do. And that's not a knock, not by any means, but real estate business people, real estate entrepreneurs, they look at this as a game of business and how to scale, whether it be development or, and I read that article, and David, I sent you that article. I don't know if you remember it. It's such a great article. It's operating from the mindset of how do you operate this as a business? And that's what Carl drills in every single time,
Yeah, right. Because going back to the scaling, like you got to buy properties cheap enough so you could pull out your money and scale it. Because if you're leaving 50, 100 grand in the deal every time, you're going to run out of money pretty soon, right? So unless you start raising the money, I guess you could do it that way, but then your cash flow diminishes. So you always have to have the equity component, in my view. Buy them deep, buy them cheap if you can, and add value, pull all your money out as much as you can at least. And that's how you scale.
One thing I'll just say that I wish I would have done when I was younger, which besides hiring a mentor, and something I'm drilling in David's head every single time: join a RIA. Join a RIA.
Yes.
You gotta join a RIA.
Yeah, like I think our RIA is great. I really do, because like one of the components is there's no selling. Really, there's really no sales. Like if you get caught like trying to sell yourself, like he'll kick you out of the group, right?
Hmm.
Some RIAs though are the complete opposite, man. So you got to be careful. Like some RIAs are sales pitches for something else. You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't know. I haven't been to a lot of RIAs. I've been to a couple, but the one we're in is like a really good one. So do your due diligence, you know, join your local RIA, meet some good people, build your team. You know, that's what I would suggest if you're just starting out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. David, do you have any other questions for Mike?
No, I'm excited to see where you go and have you back here talking about your 100th deal.
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, man. I hope so. I hope you're right.
So Mike, if people want to learn more about you, how can they find you?
You could follow me on Instagram, that flipping accountant, or if you want to call me, text me 516-662-6132. My website, We Buy Long Island Homes Fast. You know, however you want to reach out.
Just and I gotta say that when we went to that real estate meetup, how many people approached you that they just found you on social media?
What, that was the networking thing like 2 months ago?
Yeah, the brewery.
Oh,
Like, how
my God.
awesome has social media been for you?
Oh my God, it's been great. I mean, I don't know if it's the handle, you know what I mean? People love the handle. They go, oh, yeah, you picked a great username, you know,
Definitely
like
counts
people
it.
love it. But you know, a lot of it was really just engagement. Like when I first started, no one knew who the hell I was. And I was just following, you know, the same people we all follow, but I was engaging on their posts. I was DMing them. I was, you know, constantly, you know, that's what you got to do. If you want to do social media the right way, I mean, yeah, it's putting out content's one part of it, but it's also you reaching out on their content. Because the one thing I realized, particularly is like, once you engage on their content, now they kind of know who you are. They're like, oh, yeah, that Mike guy, you know, because they're going to click on your profile and
Right.
stuff like that. And they once they know who you are, sort of like socially or virtually, I should say, once you see them in real life, it's like you broke that barrier, you know, that like awkward, like breaking the ice type of thing. You don't even know the person. Like you avoid that completely if you are social media, if you're engaging on their social media.
Right.
You know, I've like, when I first meet some of these people, I'm giving them hugs. Like you would never hug some stranger, would you? But
No,
it's like we're not strangers.
but to be fair, Mike, there was a lot of booze at that particular event.
Oh yeah, that's true. I might hug a stranger if I'm drinking booze.
Well, good stuff, Mike. No, but we're really honored to have had you on and really look forward to following your journey. And like I said, I have full confidence that you're going to reach your goals this year, next year, the next 10 years. So happy to you know, really happy that we met at the RIA. Happy to call you a friend of the show, and yeah, just really looking forward to following your journey.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much, guys.